Hi, it's the lads from the FM Services Group again. So listen, today we're doing an installation for a Mazda dealer in the where are we? Newbury, Oxfordshire area. So what we've got to do here, we've got to trench out about 15 metres of underground to lay electrical cable. We've got a lot of electrical work to do and 2 chargers to install. So at this stage here, if we just talk about the groundworks element, what we do, we're digging a pilot hole because we're getting something back on our scanner that says there's something underneath the ground. So we dig cautiously, we're going to drop a couple of pilot holes in, so one here and probably another 5 metres away, we'll drop another one in. If the route's clear, we're going to get out our big trencher, which is over here. And we're going to trench it out 450, which will speed the actual process up, and then from there we'll then sort of backlay it and do all the rest of it. So we'll pick up as we go through, but there are about 3 different parts to this installation. So we've got a groundworks element, we've got an extra installation electrical element, and then a finishing off and making good element. So we'll just keep up to date as we go through. So right, just to continue on from where we were, so we've now dug 2 450mm pilot holes. The requirement of 450mm is electrical, it's a minimum requirement for electrics. So we've got 2 pilot holes, and the reason we've dug 2 pilot holes is simply to make sure there's no surface on the vehicle. Rob, I mean, just go into a little bit more detail with that, what we would have expected to find and what could we have found.
Yeah, the reason why we did the pilot hole is just to see if there's any surfaces that can cause us any problems. If the job's been done properly by the guys that fitted any pilots, there should be some neoprene layer just to show stuff there, and some hazardous tape to identify fibre, data, gas, water, or any electrics. And if there were any there, we just have to take caution and be a little bit wider just to go a bit further just to avoid that.
And the other thing, just to add to that, when Rob's was saying we move on a little bit, we've got separation. So say for instance, if we found a gas pipe, there is an actual requirement for separation. Circa 295, let me quote the number, but don't drag me out and kill me for it if I'm slightly wrong. But the separation is about 295mm between each service. Now, if that's, if we found something, we'd have to do 295 just to make sure we're sufficiently away from that service. But at this point here, we're happy. We found what we needed to do. 2 pilot holes we replaced, we found no service or anything that makes us think that we're going to bump into something. So at this point here, we're going to get the trencher off, and we're going to trench it. We're not going to go into the detail, you'll just see us trench it. Right, so we just dug our trench out, we're just about to lay the cable. We're completely knackered because the trencher was only good in sort of mediocre ground. Unfortunately, this must have been a building site or something, because it's just got nothing but rocks and old bricks and slabs. So it's made hard work for it, so we're completely knackered. Fortunately, we've got 2 days on the job, but we've got our first bit of trenching in. Now we're going to redo this quite quickly because it's actually a car park, so they need to get over it. So we're back to this quite quickly. Another section of the fence here, and then we'll start to put in foundations for the pedestal and the charger. Because we've got 2 days on this job, so that will be pretty much it today. So we've got a clever little tool here. Lots of names. I'm not going to get into it right now. Many people have different names for it. So simply we drop it into cement, and what this is going to do is aerate it. Simple as that. We're going to leave it in, and you come close to the camera, you can see what it's doing. It's actually going to take the air out of the cement to make sure that we don't get any breaks or cracks in the base. If anybody wants to go into a bit more detail about the groundwork, what the mix ratio is or anything else, just leave it in the notes, and then we'll give you a bit more of a heads up on how we do it. That's all we're doing, basically. We're just going to level this off. We're not going to go mad because the aerator gets it quite level. But just from our point of view, when we just want a smooth depth to work from when we put the pen on. So when we put the metal pedestal on to house the charger, we just want to try and get it relatively flat, that way we don't have to pack it too much in an ideal world. And subsequently I'll just smooth that out as best we can. Take a smooth level reading just to see it's pretty straight. We're probably going to end up packing a mil or two, but I ain't really worried about that, to be perfectly honest. But we'll get it dead centred and dead squared. We're working off this post here, actually, that centre line. So we've got the post off the fence. Tommy's got the crash barrier, lovely job. We're pretty much going to wrap it up for today, to be honest with you. That's pretty much it. So I'll just give you a quick run through. We've done this. So today what we've actually achieved, we've done this as the final part of the job. We trenched out and run the cable in. You've got a little bit of trenching left to do, as you can see here. So we trenched out, and then we went right across the car park. We backfilled. We put our new fantastic trenching damper machine in. You can't even tell where we've worked on the drive, which is fantastic. We're loving it. We haven't raked it back and finished it yet. But on that bit, pretty direct to that wall, which we'll actually come back to later on next week. I'll show you. We've completed the installation of the DV on the inside, so we'll go through that next week and I'll show you what we do. So we're wrapping up for today. Okay, so it's Monday morning. We're back on site again just to sort of finish off this EV installation. So I deliberately kept this part of the trench just to go through some groundworks thing. I'm not going to make it totally about groundworks because obviously this is about electrics, EV charging, but groundworks is a significant part of it as well. So what we've done today, we've kept this little piece here just to demonstrate what you need to do when your backfill is really important, because it's not actually about us, it's about others. When somebody else comes back to dig up the ground that you've already dug up and applied electrical cable, so it's very important that this criteria is finished. Now this particular layout that we're doing today is one that we've used with Scottish Power and a couple of installs that we've previously done before. So we've dug out a hole at 450mm deep, a trench. It's 600 at the other end because we're also trying something with the conduits today as well. So this is actually dedicated to Mathman in the USA, who says that he's got down to 25 ohms. So the challenge is on to see if we can actually catch up and get down to 25 ohms as well. So today we've dug a deeper hole for the conduits, it's 600mm. So we've got a 450 trench leading up to a 600mm hole for the conduits. So what we've got to do when we backfill is quite important. The lad's going to go through. We've got Ollie with us today as well. Actually, he's our groundworks and landscaping guy, so he makes everything look pretty after we finish messing it all up. He makes it look good. And we've got Rob here, Sparky, and groundworks guy, works with me as well. And we're all on groundworks. We are Sparky's, myself and Rob. Ollie's a carpenter and a landscaper. So we've got guys who are multitasking guys that can do lots of different things, which is ideal when you're doing an installation such as this. Right, so what we're going to do here, we're going to fill this trench down. It's fine sand, sharp sand, call it what you will. Okay, but we need a bed to put our steel armoured wire cable on, which is here. We're going to drop this into the ground. In a lot of cases, if this was a heavy duty walkway, we would potentially put this into a double skin ducting, but we're not going to do that today. This first part of the trench which we dug out, we did do, but this part we're just going to drop the steel armoured wire in because it's protected. The actual ducting's extra protection. So we're not going to put a ducting piece in here because this is not really heavy duty. Cars are parked on this particular area, but it's not high traffic. So we're going to backfill in a certain way as well. So to start the backfill process, we have to get a bag of sand, fine sand. We don't have to go mad. So we just have to pretty much just say, sign, builder sand, sharp sand, whatever you will. So we just need to fill the trench as best we can. Back the lads to the lift. I'm going to grab this off you, Rob. So just fill that hole. For those who are going to hang me out to dry, I haven't got my safety boots on because I left them in the office. Not very clever move on a Monday morning, but there we go. And then what Ollie's going to follow up and just sort of knock it down, so we've got a bed for the actual steel armoured wire to fall on. Let's get that down. We don't need to go crazy. It's not, you're not going to see it's buried. You just need to be conscious that you've done it. And as I said, this is actually not really about. It's not about us because we know the cable's there. It's if somebody else comes along and needs to dig the trench, could be gas, could be water, could be fibre, could be communication. They're going to hit certain things and know that these cables are there. So when we start the backfill process, it's really critical. So essentially what we do, we need some more sand here on as well. So what we do, we know we're trying to get 75mm sand, and then we drop our cable, followed by another 75mm sand. So what we're going to do, drop the cable in the hole now. Get that right down into the trench. Okay, that's it. Okay, I'm going to cover this cable with sand again. Right, so what we've got here, we've backfilled now, so we've gone up another 150, circa 150 to get what we need to do. Now we're going to drop it in neoprene. This neoprene is the start of a warning to anybody else that starts to dig up, that says that there's something 150 to 200 mil below this neoprene, so it's a warning sign for anybody else who's digging up. So anybody who's used to doing excavation of groundworks will know what this means. So we'll drop this tape in there. That covers up the trench that we basically walked on. So we're going to drop this now on the other end, where start from where Ollie is. Drop that in right on top of this. So by doing this, we've actually complied. So we've done the necessary thing to warn anybody else that's digging. There is an electrical cable underneath there that's carrying 415 volts, and if you don't take caution, you're likely to take a bolt off it. So in a nutshell, we've done what we needed to do. This is not for us, remember, this is for other people. So it could be gas, it could be water, it could be electrical, BT, want to dig a trench. At least when they hit this, they see this yellow tape, they know below this neoprene, 150 to 250 mil, there is an electrical cable, so it's an early warning sign. So pretty much backfill, that's it. Okay, so excuse the bomb site, but we're at the conduit disc again. So we're dropping another conduit disc in the floor here. So we've got a GTB dual outlet, 222 kilowatt sockets, so 63 amps in total, and we've got another actual charger going inside the warehouse there, which is another three-phase 22 kilowatt 32 amp charger, but we're earthing them from this conduit disc, so we're putting this close to the GTB, and then we'll build steel armoured wire back to the board. So what we're going to do today, we've dug 600 mil instead of 450 mil, and we're sinking the conduit disc even lower. So what Ollie's going to do now is going to put a bed of concrete in. As you've seen this before, so we're not going to bore you with it too much. But we'll just drop a bed of concrete in into the hole, and then we're going to backfill this. Okay, so we're going to run that through. So what we found here, this conduit disc on this lead's a little bit short, so we've joined it up again, obviously twinned it up with the same size cable, put a block connector on it. We're going to run it through. Ollie, if you could just grab that for me, take that through with it. Grand, thank you very much. So that's gone in now. So what we're going to do here again, we're going to drop some earth on top of it, so we'll shovel some earth on top of this one. So we're going to just put this first layer down. So we're coming back up to our 450 now, and what we're going to do here, we've got our electrical cable for our GTB going through. So this is going to layer over the top. Probably going to go a little bit higher, and we'll make that up with concrete. We've got that inside. Ollie, can we have the next layer of concrete, please? So we've got our next layer of concrete. Again, you don't need to do this, it's just me trying to level it off a little bit. Then we're going to drop a next layer of earth in, pack that in, pack that on top of what's going on here. And simply that's it. Once again, concrete in it. It's 600 mil this time. We're just going to see if we can meet Mathman from the US is 25 ohms. Apparently it's 2.5 as well, which is really nice. But we're going to try and see if we can get to 25 ohms on the screen. We'll drop that towards the end of the video, you can see, and on the other side here, Yasmin, she wants to come out and give you a walkthrough of what we've been doing totally. So Yasmin, our camera lady for today, she's going to follow me around, and we basically go, so let's bring the damp for that down. So ultimately, what we're going to finish up with here is a dual Garrow GTB charger. Just got our pod 10 here ready to go to the ground, so we've dug out there 450 again, take the electrical cables down, standard requirement for electrical cables. Got a crash barrier going in, so we'll show you an image of this when it's finished. So all the cables have been run from the workshop, which we're going to take you to in a minute. So this cable has pretty much run from the workshop where we're going to in a minute, and then we're actually, follow me around, Yasmin. We're going to go round here, so we've got a combination of things that are going on, and there's some stuff I'd like to get into today, but it's not really worth it. So just purely because we can't really demonstrate what we're talking about. So this cable has run all the way over there. It's run underneath the ground, which you'll see on some of the earlier footage that we did. It's come behind this fence here. And again, remember all the time, we're always meeting the regulations. Now, I'm hoping, here we go, you can, you can have this on here. So it's come up out of the ground behind the fence here. Over here, it's hit the fence, come back along here, and it's been clipped direct along the wall. So we have to core out a wall here, core out a hole in the wall. That's going to be filled with a fire retardant foam when we're finished, and it's cemented over. So that will make that good when we're finished. So if you head with me now, it's gone through that wall there into a workshop, which is for dealing with EV cars. Dave, can you bring your shuttle up with me? 1 second, I'll be back with you. So it's come into here, and then basically what's happened here, Dave, the main man, the QA, QS, or whatever you want to call him. If he's come a little bit further this way, you can have a look. He's actually come through the wall. You can see that's where he caught through the wall. He's coming up here, and he's going to present that cable to 2 isolators to control 2 chargers. He then is wired up a DB, and he's wired from the DB to the fuse board. Okay, so that's done. We are putting another charger on the wall here as well, so that will be done, and we'll show you the images of that and do a final walkthrough. We've also got Dave, what Dave's done with his nice tray work. He's come up down the tray, along the wall to contain the cables. Now you could clip direct, it's your personal preference. Just for us though, we find the aesthetics to be all and end all for us. It's all about how pretty it looks, as pretty as it can, because it is a commercial, industrial sort of installation. So we've come across here, we're going to come up here onto a right angle, as Dave's already prepped. It's coming up here, and we're going to present another single outlet, 22 kilowatt, 32 amp charger on this wall, and this one is for the actual engineers to go and test the vehicles that they're working on. And that's pretty much the installation. So when we're finished, we'll do a final walkthrough when it's all prettied off and tidied up, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so it's the end of day 2, and we're pretty much wrapping it up now, and it's been a long slog, let me tell you. So ultimately what we achieved was the dual GTB charger with crash barrier as well. We've got that in, and it's, as you can see, it's for the new Mazda. Client's really happy. It's working an absolute dream. And just on the inside, just to show you what we did inside, there's quite a lot of work inside. So we've got another charger on the wall here as well. So that was for this is for the technicians to actually program the cars. That's all done. Can I just move your jets this way for a second? Thanks very much. And then just basically here we've got our EVDB, which has been done by our QS. And then we've got our rotary isolators. In the event that there's an issue, the client can actually isolate the chargers themselves. So 2 chargers, as I said, there's isolator 1 and 2 isolator 2. Isolator 1 is for inside the warehouse, and then these are in the workshop, apologise. And then the other one for the outside. Pretty much, it's a wrap. So if you like what you've seen, please subscribe and leave any comments below as you do.